So here is my sketch roughly of my still life. So I'm using a water bottle, my cup, and a glue bottle. These are objects that I found in the room, and this is what I'm going to use to reflect on and to look back on as I begin to create the still life using a whole bunch of different techniques. Beforehand, and I sketched it out roughly to the size I'm going to need it, I can just use my sketch here to begin this process. So I'm actually just going to trace my sketch. So when you make your sketch, just make sure it's nice and good. So I just went ahead and darkened those lines a little bit, and I'm going to trace just the top of this water bottle here. Now notice how my tissue paper, like I could trace this right in the middle of the paper, but then when I go to cut this out, then I have to cut all the way into the center of the paper. So make sure you move it to the corner, and tissue paper is so thin, it's very easy to trace. But because it's so thin, just be careful that it doesn't break, you know? All right, so there's that, and then I am going to play around here with color because this is going to become an abstract still life. So even though this squirt bottle here is not violet, I'm going to go ahead and just choose violet instead of the clear, just to make it a little more artsy, a little more jazzy. So I'm going to go ahead and take my lavender, my lighter violet, and I'm going to trace the next part of this. And again, notice how I'm up in the corner so I don't waste paper. So after I've cut out this shape, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my monoprint in front of me, and I'm going to begin building this still life here. So this is where the water bottle is going to be. So if I look at my shapes, I can start layering. And what's cool about the tissue paper is we can see the print from underneath, which I think is super fun. Okay, so for this kind of technique here, we're going to use a little bit of a runny glue. Now make sure when you are using this runny glue, you're using an old brush. Make sure you are using the proper brush. If you don't know, ask your teacher. We don't want to use our nice brushes for dipping it in the glue, just in case it, you know, we can't get it all off and it's going to become sticky. So what I like to do is I like to literally just brush where I'm going to put it. I just put a little down, and then I brush my edges here. So from here, I'm going to stick with my little water bottle here. And because we have learned abstract and how to draw things from different perspectives, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make another water bottle, this time from a different perspective. So here on my sketch, I will take my water bottle, I will turn it so it's facing a new way, and I will draw this now. Now you could get a separate sheet of paper and draw it, or you can just do what I'm doing and layer it right on top. As long as you know what the difference is, that's kind of up to you and your technique. If you are worried you're not going to be able to tell what is what, please get a separate sheet of paper. All right, so the funny thing about my little squirt bottle is the bottom is essentially the same. It's just the top that's different. Okay, so I used pink before. I'm going to go ahead and keep with the pink. And I'm just going to trace that top part again. Now for the bottle itself here, I'm actually going to shift to a darker tissue paper just to play a little bit with color. So this is going to be harder for me to see through. You might need to use one of the light boxes for this one. I could keep it with that same lavender, the lighter violet, but I'm choosing to go darker to see what happens. If I don't like it, well, you know what? I can always go back to that lavender. All right, so what I'm gonna do here is I am going to layer a little bit. And I could put this directly on top, but visually I don't necessarily enjoy that look. So I'm making decisions as I go as the artist, what is going to be the most beautiful. All right, and so again, I'm gonna get that runny glue out, and I'm just gonna do that same. Okay. So now that I have this down, I'm going to say we can do 2 viewpoints of each item in our still life. So that way we keep it in the abstract theme. So I did one from the side, one from the front. I could do from the back and from the other side as well, but I think it'll be a little too jumbled. So I'm just gonna leave it as 2 viewpoints, okay? So the next thing I'm gonna work on is the mug that I drew here. All right, so now I'm gonna switch gears. Now the mug, I'm gonna stay a little more true to color. So this mug that I'm drawing is white on the base, and then it has colors on the top. I actually have it right here. It's my drinking mug. So I'm gonna go ahead and layer this down, and notice how I layered it a little on top of the squirt bottle there, because it is a little bit in front. All right, and then on this mug, there are yellow, blue, and red shapes. So again, I will just set this to the side and I will trace where those shapes are. Have made my mug here from 2 different viewpoints, so that really the only thing that changed on that mug is just the design of the colors, because when you turn it, it's different colors. So I just changed it up. Again, I just did 2 different perspectives, and now I'm working here on my glue bottle. So my glue bottle, I'm going to do 1 perspective from the front here, and I'm not going to put in all of these letters. I'm just going to break it down into like these colors, right? Oranges and blues, and maybe some black. So I'm choosing to simplify. And then from the other perspective, I probably will not see all those stickers, because I will choose to either do from the side or the front angle. And just because I have 2 different tones of orange, I have like a lighter yellow orangey, I'm going to choose to use that instead of the regular orange, just to give it a little more variety. So this is the side view of this glue bottle. So now I need to start making decisions about the piece itself. So I've used my sketch, that is done. Now I need to look at this as an artwork. Where does it need help? What more can I add? How can I be creative with my media choices and how to finish this off? Because for me, when I look at it, it doesn't look totally finished and complete. I'm gonna play around with construction paper. So construction paper is not see-through, right? So this is gonna add another little dimension to our still life, or abstract still life. So I know what I'm, in my brain, what I wanna do. I'm gonna start back at the top with my water bottle. And the little nozzle, like this little circle part, I am going to make those with construction paper. So it's gonna just bring some of this back to life a little bit. And I'm gonna do that on both angles. I am just eyeballing it, honestly, as I cut these out, because it's kind of hard to trace on construction paper because the paper is so thick and it's not see-through. And even if it's not totally the right shape, you know what, it's okay. It's an abstract piece of art. Does it have to be perfect? No way, Jose. Okay, and now so that I have that, now I know, it's like almost you have to get started for the ideas to start coming. Now I know what I'm gonna do here. So there's little texture marks on my nozzle here, and I'm gonna make those little marks with tiny strips of construction paper. So this is what's called a mixed media artwork. You're using a variety of media. So I used printmaking ink, I've used tissue paper, I used construction paper. Now I'm gonna go on in with some oil pastels here. And so when I look at my piece, what I think I need to establish a surface that all of my objects are sitting on, since this is a still life. So I am going to think about color choice, what I might want to do here, what's going to look well with the colors I picked, and I'm going to start making like a tabletop. Okay, so even something as simple as that really makes a difference in this artwork. What I am going to do is I'm going to elaborate a little bit more. So I just chose right now, I chose like a little darker of a green. Since my background is green, I knew if I played with tone on tone, that would look nice. And I think I'm going to go around the bottoms of my objects to define them a bit more. Now notice how I am almost creating a value scale here. I'm starting dark up near the top of my line there, and then I'm moving to lighter, so I'm letting it fade. I'm changing my pressure as I go. And this way I can still see some of that cool print from underneath, which looks super nice. All right, so now I have to figure out up here, is there anything that I want to do? Is there anything I want to emphasize? And I definitely feel I need to go around the top of my water bottle here. And I chose pink because the top is pink, and I'm, again, playing with that tone on tone. And that way it just stands out a bit more because it is getting a little lost because that pink tissue paper is so light. All right, and I'm even gonna move down into the bottle itself. And I'm drawing right on top of the tissue paper here. And this is, again, just to add a little more emphasis to all of this. All right, my friends, now here's where I'm getting creative. There's no polka dots on this bottle. There's no polka dots at all in this bottle. But now I'm gonna start jazzing it up the way I wanna jazz it up. So see, I'm just outlining the shapes just so they appear stronger, so that way if someone looks at this, they kind of get a more general idea of what's actually happening here. Now the key is don't go too crazy because this tissue paper, again, is pretty fragile, so you don't want to break it or tear it. And just remember, with oil pastel, you can layer colors on top of one another. This is why I love oil pastel, because it's reminiscent of paint. So I'm putting just a little more like apple green into this like hunter green here, just to make it a little more lively. Okay, so I think I want to call myself complete here. Notice how I kind of drew into other shapes so we could see the shape from behind. That way it just adds a little more to the abstract nature of the piece. So here's an abstract still life. Creating objects from two different perspectives, using a bunch of art making techniques to create this image. You really explored a lot here. So yeah, here it is. I'm pretty happy with this.